What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher Jones. As always, I am him. Some late breaking or not late breaking, within 24 hours NBA news that just took place. So I got to jump in and hop in here with my boy Sports Talk Terry Everett Terry Jr. on all social media platforms. Let's get right to it. Luka Doncic is headed
I'm
to
here.
Los for all right. Now I want to make sure I got all this right. The Lakers will be receiving Luka, Max Kleber, Markeith Morris, and that's it. Max Christie and the Lakers' first round pick in 2024, 2029 are headed to Dallas along with Anthony Davis. The Jazz are getting Jalen Hood Shafano and two 2025 second round picks, blah, 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 blah. And it's pretty much the deal. So the deal is simple. It's Luka for Anthony Davis, bunch of other pieces. But I want to make sure I get all those pieces mentioned. Before I give my opinion, first let me give the story of what happened. Last night, I'm uploading yesterday's show, and I'm chopping it up and trying to figure out some different things that I wanted to try to put on the internet. And then I saw the burb come through that says Lucas traded for Anthony Davis. And the first thing I thought was that's fake news. That spam is fake news. It can't be real. But as time went on, my phone starts blowing up. All my people that I'm cool with that are LeBron haters are like, LeBron gets everything he wants. LeBron's got everybody. Similar to what you always scream about Doc Rivers. And I was like, it's fake news. It didn't happen. Then in about, I want to say 8 something my time, Hoop Rumors reported it. And that they're pretty official. So when I saw on the Hoop site, Hoop Rumors, and then like later on ESPN, I was like, wow, this really happened. So I was like, this trade makes no sense. Like on either side, why would you trade that? Luka's a monster. Why would you? Luka's a bad. Like Luka's that dude. Like why would you make that trade? And we're gonna give Everett some time to get his technical difficulties together here. We got another picture of you up here. E. So, but as time went on, I thought about it. I heard reports. Reports were that Luka was 270 pounds. On one side, I heard that he was 270 pounds. On another side, that he wasn't happy. He wasn't getting in shape. He was doing all these things. And I said, man, that all may be true. But that mofo that been on the court has been crushing dudes. I'm not giving that talent away unless, as a 76ers fan, I'm sitting front row. I'm sitting front row and center for the debacle that is Joel Embiid. About less than 7 days ago, ESPN put a little stat on the screen for the world to see. And the stat was simple. Embiid played 446 games. 446, 406, I can't remember. He played 446 odd games. He's missed 400 games. So he's been on the court, he's been off the court for almost 50% of his career. And the Sixers owe him over $200 million. Now, I'm not saying that that was the pushing point, starting block, the thing that made Mavericks general manager Nico Harris decide to move Luka. But there was a time in the NBA where players didn't play because they were hurt. That time has changed. Fix that light behind you. That time is now changed to a point where NBA players, let me repeat that. It was a time when NBA players didn't play because they were hurt. Now it feels like players don't play to avoid getting hurt. And everybody doesn't subscribe to that theory. Now, Luka's not that guy, but Luka's due for a supermax this offseason. If I'm Mark Cuban and I'm Nico Harris, I won't say he's 270 pounds because I don't know that to be fact. But what I do know is he's not a baby and he still carries a lot of baby weight. What I do know is he ain't taking his shirt off at the pool. What I do know is there are some questions about whether or not he is giving maximum effort in the training, in the diet, in the nutrition that goes into being an elite player. And we got that same crap going on in Philly. There's no question that Joel Embiid does not put the effort outside of the basketball court to make sure he is in tip-top shape. to play on the basketball court. And the Sixers have just set the blueprint for how to screw your franchise as they are in rears to that dude for $200+ million. So hold on. Make sure you're good for a few minutes before you chime in.
I'm good.
So when I think about that, when I consider that, and I consider the fact that you have a chance to add Anthony Davis, and I know I'm on a small island of people that believe Anthony Davis is a difference maker. That once he got out of New Orleans, the injuries, it took him a few years to get his Lakers self together. But once he did, he wound up to be a pretty good player. I'm not saying I would make that deal, but I'm not giving Luka $200 million. And I can't get this dude to get in shape. Floor is yours.
Okay, first of all, I was sitting there setting my fantasy basketball lineup and it came across the ticker. Okay. I saw it live and then happen and the entire group chat went nuts. They thought Shams was hacked. They thought it was fake. Then he went down and went to his page. It was real. People started responding. Now, I didn't.
He
Bron knew
tweeted, "This
nothing
is
about
real."
it.
He
I
tweeted,
know.
"This is."
The fact that Bron said I knew nothing about it, stop it. GM knows everything, okay? Mr. GM knows everything. There's no way Rob Pelinka pulls the trigger on this and says, hey, Bron, we're getting ready to make this move. We just want to give you the heads up. He probably told Bron before he told AD.
No, stop at that light. Stop at that light. Hold on. Before you go, you got to stop at that light because I can't let you. Because it messes with the credit. So not only did LeBron not know about it, when Rob Pelinka made the trade, the first call he made was to Anthony Davis and JJ Redick. Then he contacted LeBron. And I'm going to tell you how you know LeBron didn't know about it. Because the time the story broke, right? The fact that the Lakers were on the road and LeBron was playing. This deal, Dallas approached the Lakers. This deal,
I'm getting to that.
LeBron didn't know. No one knew. No one knew. Which is
I understand it. I
and Rob.
understand.
I want to give kudos to Nico and Rob because when you
Agree.
make a deal, hold on, I'm gonna give it back to you in a second. I'm gonna give it back to you in a second, I promise. I just want to say this. When you make a deal like this, because somebody told me, somebody that actually, a writer, a friend of mine's a writer said, man, you gotta field better offers for Luka. Nah, man. When you trade a guy of this magnitude, you identify what you want and you go out and get it, and then you move on. Floor is yours.
Okay. 3 things. Number 1, the Mavericks are literally recently removed as Western Conference champions heading to the NBA Finals. Now, I agree. Luka did not have a great finals. He didn't play well. He got cooked on defense. They were targeting him because he didn't have the conditioning, which you brought up earlier, in terms of being able to keep up as a guard, a defensive player that could guard his position. He couldn't guard his position. They were doing whatever they wanted. Fair. I get it. I love this trade for the Lakers. They just won. They won because now they have, listen, LeBron's fitting to be 67 like next week, okay? They have a face of the franchise for the next decade. A top 10 talent who's not even in his prime all the way yet. He's coming into it. You're getting rid of Anthony Davis, who's an off-injured big man who I'll give credit, has stayed relatively healthy the last 2 years. But prior to that, the biggest knock on AD is he couldn't play 70 games or plus. And he's been able to stay healthy, which has been the biggest knock against him, which is why he was able to get this trade done. Because if he were hurt, they wouldn't have traded for him. But the fact that he's been healthy, he still has top 10 talent. I just don't know that he's a top 10 difference maker. And here's why I say that. You and I had a conversation the other day about guys who plug in empty stats. Anthony Davis will give you 25, 15, 6, and 4, and the Lakers will get blown out of the building. Again, he provides stats and moments that don't help the guys win games. He plays great off of a superstar alpha dog, but he being the guy isn't it. He's going to a team with Kyrie. Kyrie, we know, gets in his bag. He has the skill and the talent, but for real, Kyrie wants to defer. We saw what a Kyrie-led team in Boston looked like. They couldn't win a championship there. They're not going to win a championship in Dallas. We also heard AD complain about, I don't necessarily want to keep playing the 5. I want to play the 4 and have a 5 that's going to rebound and grab boards. Well, they got Dan Gafford, who literally just yesterday or the day before put up 25 and 20. Like, they're getting guys in there who can put up numbers and do the grunt work so AD can just float the floor, shoot jumpers, play his offensive game, and occasionally help out weak side defense. All of that is fine. The big issue here is I think that the Mavs got undervalued for Luka. You can say he's 270 pounds or whatever, but Luka at 270 pounds can still throw up 38 and 7. Like, what are we talking about? I don't care if he's 290 pounds. You throwing up 38-7 in today's NBA, you're going to get help. You're going to get what you want. And if he was unhappy, and I know a lot of people say, oh, it's Mark Cuban, it's Mark Cuban, Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban sold his controlling interest in the team already. And he used to be player head of basketball operations, but that title is now Nico's. I won't say Mark Cuban didn't know about it. I'm not saying that Luka probably didn't go to him and Mark Cuban said, stay patient, stay quiet, we'll get this done. What I am saying to you is that Mark Cuban had literally nothing to do with this deal. This was all Nico Harrison getting approval from the people up top who bought the team, who said, hey, we got a team that just went to the finals. The West, outside of maybe OKC, everybody else is beatable. We just need a bolster on defense and a guy that can give us the same kind of offensive productivity. They're like, we got Kyrie and Luka who are both ball dominant. Let's let Kyrie run the show. Let's let AD play off of him, which plays the Kyrie strength because he's got a big now. And then we just run the floor with who we have. For the win now moment, it makes sense for the Mavs if they have another move lined up, because I don't think the two of them is enough to get out of the West. They need one more piece. The Lakers, it don't matter what they do now. They could be the AFC, they can miss the playoffs. It doesn't matter because you know LeBron's out in a year or two, maybe 3 now that he's playing with Luka. He might see Bryce come into the league. Okay, great, whatever. But in the meantime, he's going to hand the keys. He's going to hand off the keys to Luka, let Luka run the show and become more of that. I'm not needing to be the A guy anymore. I can be the B guy and play off of him the same way that Shaq went to Wade and said, you're the guy, I'm going to take the step back when the Heat won their title in 06. Very, very similar, where he was the dominant big dog, and then he goes there and says, I'm going to step back and let you be the man. It's the same thing. I don't see any difference between the two, and I think that this is where you're going to see that transition of LeBron aging gracefully into the latter part of his career, and you're going to see Luka ascend because of nothing else. LeBron's going to push Luka to want to be better. Luka has said he's admired and watched LeBron his entire life. He's one of his favorite players of all time. Luka will be training with LeBron every day. You don't think LeBron's going to have him, hey, come talk to my chef. Hey, let's get you in there, get you conditioned, and let's get you working out. Let's get you getting your weight down so that way you can be the superstar you're supposed to be. Him being 270 ain't a deal breaker for the Lakers because he's got one of the most insanely health conscious fitness guys in the history of basketball who played 20 years and looks like he's 19. That's a benefit to the Lakers, having LeBron there to kind of be that, hey, I'm going to be the big brother. I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to teach you the way and show you how to project and stay healthy in this NBA career and still be productive and still be the man and get the respect of the team. At the same time, this now gives the Lakers all types of latitude because now the roster's wide open. What do? Well, we all thought LeBron would play point forward the rest of his career, but now he won't because Luka's going to dominate the ball. So now LeBron plays off ball. I mean, what are they going to run, a two-man game? You're going to need another weapon, but I don't think that they prepared for this year. I think they prepared for next year. They're going to re-up Luka to whatever the number is and then go from there. It's a great trade for the Lakers. I don't like the Mavs deal.
Well, first, I actually was going to start with the Mavs. I think it's upon further review, did make sense on either side, but it actually makes a lot of sense now. And this is why I don't jump. I always say now when I do interviews and I talk to people, I don't want to be first. I just want to be timely. That's what I want to do. I want to make sure I get enough information where I can make an informed opinion. And in this situation, the Mavs and the Lakers both got what they wanted. And let's start with the Mavs. 2 weeks ago, Anthony Davis said that all the Lakers needed to do was add 4 or add a 5. Well, he got that. And he got that in 2 guys that are in the mold of a JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Now, neither one of those guys are Dwight Howard. But as far as the athleticism, able to catch lobs, be a presence off the ball and on the ball defensively, you can get extra possessions offensively, is through offensive rebounding, things that nature. Gafford and Lively are those dudes. Now, Lively, I believe, is hurt. I don't know if he's still hurt. I should have did that before I checked, but I know that he'll be back this year.
Right.
Second thing, it gives the gives the Mavericks a legitimate post presence, which OKC doesn't have, which, quite frankly, the only team that would have
Denver
be the Denver Nuggets. And if you remember, a very handsome young man once said to you that after watching the Thunder give a shellacking to the Cavaliers, that one of those 4 teams, the Lakers, the Mavericks, or the Nuggets, I forget if the fourth was going to be, I'm pretty sure the fourth is the Clippers, would beat OKC in a 7-game series. That has not changed for me. Felt the Thunder at peak.
It won't be the Lakers.
This gave we'll get to that in a second. This gave the Mavericks a whole new look now. Kyrie is now not only your ball distributor, the bigger issue here, and I'm just going to jump the gun. I'm going to say the bigger is, can Kyrie stay healthy? Can he stay healthy for a significant playoff run? Because he hasn't. And the one time he was ready for a significant playoff run, he missed almost 20 games during the season. The shot he hit over Steph Curry, people forget Kyrie missed like 30 games that year coming into the year. So he was relatively fresh. That's the question. But Jason Kidd and Jared Dudley have a relationship with not just Kyrie, but they have a relationship with Anthony Davis. They know how to get Anthony. Jason Kidd was on the staff when Anthony Davis won the NBA title. So this move made sense for Dallas. And look, it's people need to understand something. It ain't cool to be lazy. Like, it ain't cool to not get in shape. It ain't cool to not do the things necessary to be the best version of yourself. And that's what Luka was doing. I don't know if Luka Doncic smoked cigarettes. But what I do know is that in the NBA Finals, he not only got cooked on defense, he spent a lot of time yelling at the officials. And I felt he would grow out of that and he would get better. But he apparently wasn't. I'm not going to give you money and pay for mediocrity. I'm not going to give you a full salary when I'm getting a partial commitment from you.
Unless you're Daryl Morey.
That in Philadelphia.
Like, unless you're Daryl Morey.
Not even Josh Harris. Because Josh Harris paid Daryl Morey and Sam Hinkie. And I don't want to make this about the Sixers, but I use examples because people tend to cling on to examples more than analogies. People need to understand what they saw when they saw that stat. You saw a guy making $200 million and missed over 45% of the games he got paid for.
That's crazy.
You cannot pay NBA players per game because if a guy doesn't get into the game, then he doesn't get his check. So now you got coaches just trying to force guys into games. It alters the way you do matchups. So no, that's not the way you can do it. Some point, guys got to play with guys have to have integrity. Joel Embiid has shown owners that I can come out, be out of shape, give half effort, and still be a good player. You look at Luka, we don't know how good Luka can be. We know how good he is now. He's magnificent. But how good can he be if he makes a full commitment? How good can he be if he decides to do everything and not some of the things? That's why this trade makes sense for Dallas, because it still keeps you as a title contender. It puts you in a surplus where your competitors are at a deficit. So I love the trade. Now,
you know what I'm starting to despise though? I'm starting to despise that today's NBA has been ruined. And here's why I say that. The quality of the game is slop. You got AAU coaches teaching you either dunk the ball or shoot threes. There's no mid-range. There's no motion offense. There's nothing other than high screen, pick and roll, and ISO. Four to the corner, ISO man. That's not basketball. There's so much more, so many more layers to it. Well, give me a second. Walk me for a second.
Yeah, I got you.
I say that because what it does is it teaches guys that they don't have to play both ends of the floor. If they're an elite scorer, they don't have to play defense. If they're a guy who can light it up on the screen, you only have to worry about being able to do that. And that's why you get a lot of these guys that can only play one way. When back in the day, defense was preached and coached and demanded of great teams. To that point, I say that for this. The three guys that you spoke about. You spoke about Joel Embiid. You spoke about Luka Doncic. We've spoken about Zion Williamson. What do those three guys all have in common? They're all guys that grew up in an era where basketball started to shift from playing both sides of the ball and playing with integrity and doing the right things to taking shortcuts, being dunking three guys to guys that if you got enough talent, people are going to kiss you behind. Ben Simmons. I mean, we can go down the list of guys who wandered away with could be great, monster. but they screw away the opportunity to be great because they were lazy. Ben Simmons is lazy. Joel Embiid is lazy. Zion's lazy. And Luka's lazy. And it's not their skill on the floor. It's their dieting and their conditioning to take care of their body.
Yeah, the last I don't like great using series the phrase of guys lazy. Doing it.
I mean, what else do you call it? Use another word for me. What word do you use for a guy coming into camp 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight?
Doesn't have a commitment. And hold on, but I want to get to your point. I want to get to your first point. Well, actually, I forgot your first point, so right to your second point. And specifically with Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson is a case study on an organization failing a player. And Zion, while he definitely needs to take some, not needs to take some, needs to take accountability in his
A lot
actions
of
and shortcomings.
accountability.
I also understand that he is a 20-year-old young man. And when you go before his arrival to New Orleans and you see what he did to get where he was, Zion Williamson was not a household name. Zion Williamson went out and did the legwork and took advantage of social media to promote himself. He wasn't the top player coming out of high school. He wasn't even on Duke's radar his junior year.
No,
So,
it was Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish was the
but
top player.
I give an RJ Barrett, but I give Zion
And
credit
RJ
for that.
Barrett.
Now, he definitely has some maturity issues. But at 20 something years, I'm 40 plus. I got maturity issues. So I
Yikes.
recognize that. I definitely think New Orleans is fails out. With Embiid, and I want to go back to the Lakers, so I'm gonna go back to Luka. With Luka, I just believe in this situation, there's more to the story,
Of course.
and
We're
I
just not going
don't.
to hear about it. The Mavs are
The
a first
rumors
class
are he was
organization in terms of
floored.
keeping it quiet.
Yeah, the rumors are he was floored, and I commend Dallas. If it just from what we hear, if that's the case, he was out of shape, didn't come in. That's fine. But I believe that there's more to the story, and I also believe that this was one of the rare instances where basketball won. I don't believe the game. That was the point I was. I don't believe the game is going in the toilet. I think the coverage of the game is going in the toilet. I think we spent a lot of time doing highlights, and that's what gets AAU coaches opportunities to get these guys' attention. But I also feel like we no longer have the Bob Knights of the world screaming at young black men like their life is in danger because they missed the screen. I don't believe that should be the way that you talk to people. I don't
Right.
believe that this military style that basketball coaches approached in the 80s and 90s was an effective way to teach young men the game of basketball. I just think it was celebrated because you had young black men and old white men. Now, get to your point, Kwame. Now, the point is this. Your championship teams play fundamental basketball. Jamal Murray, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, uh, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, they all have all three phases of the game as far as the offense. They can finish the rim, but when they need a bucket, Kyrie Irving. When they need a bucket, they go mid range. Your best scorers go mid range. So I don't believe the game is in bad hands. I think that your analytics, i.e., your guys that don't have the basketball acumen, yes, that's what they do because it's easy. You got to, you spread guys out, you find a guy in the corner, get an open shot, but those teams don't win. Morris teams don't win. Musai's teams don't win. Your analytically driven teams don't win. So
Hold on.
I believe the game
Whose
is
team doesn't win?
Masai Ujiri's teams don't win.
That man has a championship.
Yeah, he does. He ran to the guy, and it worked out for him, and he won.
So
Okay,
he does win. I
he
mean, all right.
won. He
Daryl
won a
Morey don't
title.
win.
Hold on.
He
He
won a
won
title.
a
That's the name of the
title,
game.
but he doesn't win. Daryl Morey never won a title,
Right.
right?
He's never
And he
won.
doesn't win. So the way I look at it is consistency is what determines if you win. Consistency
But
is
there's
what
like
makes
four
you.
GMs that you can say that about. Four. There's literally four GMs.
Great. Sam Presti is a guy who wins. Oklahoma City had a rough
He ain't
patch, but
won nothing.
he's never won a title, but he wins. He gets to the NBA Finals. He gets to the Western Conference Finals.
They went to
He's
the
been there.
finals like 15 years ago.
Okay, when was the last time that? This is such an argument I'm not having. I'm moving back. We can argue that another day. The
All
point
right,
is,
set it up.
the point is, when you have guys that don't understand the game of basketball, who live off spreadsheets and Texas Instruments, you get what you were referring to. Basketball that isn't appealing to the eye and a game that people say is dying. But when you actually sit back and look at the game, I still see the same principles and the same success stories that go back to the fundamentals. Now, we got about 10 minutes left. We got to focus on the Lakers here and LeBron. You kind of touched on the surface of it. I don't know how it helps the Lakers. And the reason why I say that is it's easy to say, well, you got LeBron and Luka in a blank slate. Go. And you got plethora of movable contracts. But ain't nobody signing up to help the Lakers. A
No.
guy I was trying to look up was Clint Capella to see what his salary is like,
Makes
see if
sense.
that's a guy
Makes
that they could
sense.
go grab. Well,
Makes
yeah, it
sense.
makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Couldn't even find Clint Capella's salary for this year. Everything stopped in 2024. Well, last I checked, 24-25 season.
Nah, but 24 is it's 24 to 25. 23,
Yeah, but I
24 would be
couldn't
one, but
find a
24 to 20.
24-25 season salary. The point I'm trying to make is
Oh.
the point all around the circle, all around the world. The point I'm trying to make is there are guys out there the Lakers can grab. They don't need Yusef Nurkic. He doesn't play good basketball. I wouldn't sign him anyway. They need guys like Clint Capella. They need active rim runners. They've got movable contracts. I don't know if
He's
I'm
at
trading
20. He's
Austin
20. He's
Reeves.
22 million. He's 22 million for this year.
Okay, so then they don't really have enough money to give them unless they include Austin Reeves. And I don't.
I'm not giving up AR-15.
Where does he fit?
He's
Because
a, he's
here's
a
why.
he's a
I'm gonna give you a
utility
second to
knife.
think
He can
about it. No,
plug
I'm
him
gonna
in
give you
all
a
over the
second to think
place.
about it. I'm gonna give you a second to think about it. I'm gonna give you a second to think about it. Here's the reason why I asked that question. Luka ain't playing off the ball. Stop it. Anybody that says Luka ain't playing off the ball, change the channel. Or Luka's playing off the ball, change the channel. LeBron can play off the ball at times, but can he play an entire playoff series off the ball at 40 years old with over 500,000 miles on those legs? Hell no. And Austin Reeves can't play off the ball. So now you got
Fair.
three all dominant, and I mean dominant players. Last I checked, they didn't have any dead-eye shooters. And if you want to go Dalton Connect, that's where you want to hang your hat. That's the coat hanger you want to hang your hat on. I'm going to repeat it. That's the coat hanger you want to hang your hat on. Go ahead. So I don't know. And I'm not saying it hurts the Lakers. I just don't know how it helps this year. Floor's yours.
I agree. I don't think it helps the Lakers at all for this season, just because now they need too much to be able to compete this year. But they revamp and basically say, look, we got Bron and Luka, fill out the rest of the roster, do whatever you need to do, move whoever you got to move to make it happen. I think with Vanderbilt and with AR-15, Jackson
You got
Hayes,
Finney Smith.
got Finney Smith. You got a bunch of 3-and-D guys out there. That's what you need. When you got a team like that, you need two ball dominant guys that are going to attack the rim and get their shots, and everybody else just be open for the open looks when the defense collapses, rebound and play defense. That's all you need. You don't
You
need.
got Hachimura too,
Listen,
but
you got Hachimura. You don't need Hachimura jacking 14 shots a game. No, you're between 5 and 8. That's where you stop. 5 and 8 for you, 6 and 9 for AR-15. 2 to 6 for everybody else. You just play your game, stay in there, do what you do. Bron's gonna jack up about 20 shots a game, and Luka gonna jack the rest. Then that's it. And everybody just be ready to rebound and
you
shoot.
always say styles make fights. You always say that.
Yeah,
That is your put
do.
that on an Everett Terry tombstone.
Put it on a
Styles
t-shirt.
make fights. Depending on who they play in the playoffs, then I think they'll be successful. But I don't know, bro. I'm not saying it's not gonna work. Let me be clear. Let me be definitive and decisive. I'm not saying it's not gonna work, but I don't know how it works. With JJ Redick as a head coach.
That part. I can see them losing in the first round, or I could see them getting to the Western Conference Finals, depending on who they match up against. It could go either way, because Luka's going to give you one of those series where he's in God mode. He's going to be able to backpack you for one series. It just depends on who they play. Yeah. Hey, man, LeBron.
Right now.
Yeah, they're going to win you one.
He sits at home. All he is about is how fat and lazy he is. Like I get it. I get it. People don't understand how great Luka Doncic. Like, I get it. But you know this. There are a few guys that I make this face for, like that month. And Luka's that Luka is
He's that dude, man. He's that dude.
Like he's a
I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with the slap shot, sticky shot of the night. That's gonna throw you off. Imagine if Atlanta had kept Luka and never got Trae Young.
Oh. I don't think it would have worked in Atlanta. I think the reason why Luka had his success he had was because he had Dirk Nowitzki. He had a franchise that was hell-bent on helping him be successful and pushing him. I believe the Mavericks just pushed him as far as they can. And look, we got 4 minutes left.
They basically did with him what Tony Dungy did with Tampa Bay. He made him very, very good, but couldn't make him a champion. He brought in Gruden and won a chip. Then Tony Dungy goes to Indy. All of a sudden, he wins a chip. That's how it is. Sometimes guys got to change scenes. It happens.
Going to LeBron will help. Yeah.
How does it not? How does playing with one of the greatest players that we've ever seen touch a basketball, who has the ability to push and say, hey, listen, you want to be great? I recognize your greatness. You're the greatest player I've ever played with. And that's no disrespect to Kyrie, But Luka's the best player LeBron has ever played with. Maybe Prom Wade.
No, he's
But
better than Dwayne Wade. Luka's
that's
the
why I said. That's why I said maybe.
best player offensively we have seen in a very long time.
And that's my point. So Bron goes to him and talks to him more like an older brother to a younger brother, not a dad to a son. Not like he's talking to Bronny. It's like, look, man, you have a chance to eclipse what I am and be a bigger name across the world because you're already globally known. We can make you the face of the NBA right here. And remember, we just talked about the face of the NBA. You don't think Luka Doncic could be face of the NBA now? I told you.
No. My head is spinning as you're talking of trades and guys that are coming out. I mean, this is why like general manager assessing talent, player profile. That was what I was supposed to be. Right. Wendell Carter comes to mind. Vukovic comes to mind. Too. Those guys are all attainable.
Vukovic makes a lot of sense.
And you know why they make a lot of sense?
Because they're playing for an organization that don't want nothing.
Well, no, you got a guy in Sacramento that is trying to get to a team. And you're going to need a third team to hop in and make those trades. And the Lakers have about 4 or 5 contracts that they could move that are movable contracts that won't hurt you.
So you think maybe sending De'Aaron Fox to Chicago and then the Lakers
No. Sending De'Aaron Fox to we can hold we'll cut this episode and we'll make the next show specifically moves the Lakers can make. Because that's going to go more.
It's going to take a lot longer than a few minutes. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you like the show, make sure you subscribe, comment, share, do whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. He's Everett Terry Jr. I'm Kwame Fisher Jones. And until next week, we appreciate your time here. You be easy.